Welcome to Beyond Borders, the podcast where we explore the intersections of education, industry, and innovation. I'm your host Nadia. Today, we are thrilled to have with us Professor Dr. Sona Vikas, an accomplished educator, researcher, and administrator. With over 25 years of experience bridging the worlds of industry and academia. Professor Vikas, welcome to the show. So let's start with your fascinating career journey. You have transitioned from travel industry to academia, holding various roles along the way. What motivated this shift and how has your industry experience shaped your approach to management education?
So a lot of students also ask that why did I shift from industry to academics? At that time, it was a purely personal decision. 2005, my daughter was born, and I was at that time heading the HR in the organization where I was working. So the work profile did not allow me to spend a lot of time with the family. And we had extended working hours. I had to travel a lot as well. But because of the fact that it was important to at that time take this decision to shift for the child, so that was the reason I shifted, and I haven't looked back since then. There have been a lot of people who wanted me to come back to the industry, but once I joined the institution, it was in 2007, January. In fact, 16 January 2007 was my first step into a classroom, and I don't think I have looked back from there. The examples that I give in the class, whatever learning that has happened in my industry tenure, everything I'm able to relate, explain, and give practical examples to students in the classroom. So I am a professor of HR and OB, and I was looking after the HR function. So it was very easy for me to give feedback to students, give real world experiences, give my own practical experience in the class. So it helped a lot because once the students would step out of the campus and join the corporate, they would come back to me and say that, yes, this is what you taught in class and this is exactly what is happening with us. And let us know how do we handle these situations. So I think industry experience is very important for any academician because you have to move beyond the theoretical and the conceptual concepts and the bookish knowledge. You are churning out business managers, so they need to be very much aware of what is happening in the industry, in the companies, and what can they expect at the workplace so that they can be well aware, they can be well prepared, and they can be well tuned with the happenings around them.
That's really insightful and seems like you have remembered every small points of your journey in managing education, and that's such a insightful thing. So now you have held position focusing on training and development throughout your career and even completed your PhD in this area. So how has your research influenced your teaching and administrative approaches?
So, when I was in the corporate, I had to handle the entire training function. So, right from conceptualizing that what trainings have to be imparted to everybody from the ground level to the CEO level, I not only created a training calendar, identified the trainings, but I also developed a training manual for the organization, wherein the job descriptions would match with the work with the trainings that is required to make their work more efficient. So when that was happening, that was a time when I was almost on the verge of exiting the organization because of the family reasons. So when I enrolled in PhD in 2007, I was very clear that the topic has to be training development because it was very close to my heart. Having done that in a practical way, And I still remember that my president and CEO was very upset with me that how am I supposed to and why am I supposed to go for a training program? How can you fix a training for me? I'm the head of the organization. So then convincing her that no, what I have planned for you is something very useful and you'll only thank me when you come back. So I was very much into training and this has continued. So when I shifted to academics, there have been a lot of instances where my training experience has really helped me in the classroom also. Because over the years, I developed myself as a trainer. Now, when you're in the class, are you supposed to be a teacher or a trainer? I feel you have to have don both the hats for the simple reason that a teacher will give you the concepts of the book. A trainer will make that content very interesting in the class. You will be able to connect with your audience. So in my class, attendance was never an issue. It has never been in these last, 17 years of spending teaching. Moreover, the students would always be energetic and they would never fall asleep, they would never feel bored, because every class there would be some activity, some role play, and these are all parts and elements of trainings. So the classes were very interesting, so they would bunk every other class but not mine. So I'm very proud of that fact that as an educator, if you are able to hold the interest, and you know very well that students today are not interested too much in studies. Their attention spans are very low. So you need a trainer in you to actually keep them up, active, alert in the classroom. So that is how. So that training helped a lot. And over the years, the research that has happened because of that training, it gave me a lot of perspectives because my research was in the area of training and development in travel agencies. And I was supposed to create a soft skill manual for the travel industry professionals. Now, when you're talking about soft skills in the industry, you are able to also relate the same with the students for the simple reason that students require these soft skills today. And if you don't have those soft skills, you are a very technical, hard skills person, you will not be successful. It is very clear. It is absolutely, clear in that form. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that because of the research in the area that I did, it was very easy for me to translate that learning in my classroom also. And it has also helped me to mentor and motivate a lot of faculty members also, how they could improve themselves, how they could groom themselves, how they could become better teachers as what they are currently.
It's really interesting, and that's so interesting how your perception on students are and how to maintain it as an educator. That's so insightful and feels very encouraging. So, you have also been involved in curriculum design and are a certified instructional design specialist. So, in today's rapidly changing business landscape, how do you approach keeping management education relevant and practical?
So there was a time when we were students, we used to study syllabus which was created 8, 10, 15 years ago. So it was very basic. It was very obsolete as far as the changing environment is concerned. You'll be very surprised to know that when I was doing my post graduation in it was between 96 to 98. During that time, we had a course called as computers, and I would always make fun of it that what is this subject and what are we studying in it. And that it was at that time when this World Wide Web was being taught to us. And for the first time, emails were spoken about. So we used to really make fun of it because we used to laugh at it. What is this that we are studying? But then it was part of the curriculum, and that was one subject. Because I made fun of it, I did not score also very high in that. But what I'm just trying to say here is that who would have thought that way back in 96, 97? We are talking about internet, we're talking about email, and we're laughing at it, not knowing that, 25, 30 years down the line, it is going to become so much important that it will not, we won't be able to imagine our lives without it. So it is there, then I realized when I entered into academics that it is so very important for students to understand what is happening. So the subjects and the content that is being taught, the curriculum has to be designed in such a way that students are able to apply that, number one. Number two, the practical component has to be ingrained in it. And thirdly, the aspects that are important for the industry are being taught to the students before they step out of the campus, so that when they reach the corporate world, they don't feel what are these terms, what do we mean by it, not like that. So I remember talent management as a word has been used a lot right now, but we were not teaching students about talent management. So I remember we curated the entire curriculum of HRM, the core paper, included some of these contemporary issues, aspects, the trends, and made the students at least aware of what is happening. And believe me, the moment you do that, the students will not feel lost when they join. They'll be like, yes, I know. At least I know that basics, that what it is all about.
Right.
That is how this entire, curriculum design part, the instructional design part, it gives us a very clear clarity that curriculum needs to be updated on a very regular basis. In fact, I remember we had introduced courses which were the need of the hour when pandemic happened. In 2020, as HR electives, there was one subject which was introduced called managing virtual teams, because everybody was in a virtual mode at that time. So we introduced it as an HR elective for the students so that they could understand the dynamics of working in a virtual team. Okay, so this is just one small example that curriculum cannot be stagnant, it cannot be static, it has to be updated constantly. If I have to ensure that the learning that students are getting is relevant, is as per the industry.
That's crucial information for educators and students alike, and a great point of view here. So, shifting gears a bit, you have, conducted psychometric tests and had training and placements in it. So, how do you view the role of personality assessments and soft skills in preparing students for their careers?
See, in today's world, what is a recruiter who comes to campus looking for? There are certain set of traits they are looking for,
Yes.
certain skill sets they are looking for, certain personality types they are looking for. Or are they looking for knowledge? Are they looking for technical skills? Are they looking for technical knowledge? I have perceived, and this is my conclusion of working, that today's recruiter is looking for an excuse to reject candidates than hire them or select them. The recruitment process has become such that because of the fact that there is so many people applying for one position, like for example about 15 years ago, if one position was opened, there were almost about 250 candidates who were applying at any given time for any position. That was the statistics 15 years ago. 250. 10 years ago, that number increased to 500. Currently, it has gone up to 1,000. Now, what does it imply? That out of 1,000 students, if I have one position, it means that I'm going to reject 999 candidates. What does that mean? I just need one excuse to reject all of them, and those parameters could be anything. So what the recruiters are doing today is they have their clear eligibility criteria. Like for example, they will say that no bats, 70% throughout academic score from 10th, 11th, 12th, graduation, post graduation, whatever. and no ear loss, earbags, and all. That is a minimum eligibility criteria. And thereafter, their selection processes start. In that selection process, there are 4 to 5 rounds that happen. The first could be a technical round, which is a written test or an aptitude test. The second would be a technical round by the recruiters, the technical team. The third could be the HR round. The fourth could be the director's round. Things and these kind of things. Now, what is it in those rounds that students can expect? It could be an interview, it could be a stress interview, it could be a behavioral interview, it could be, situation based interview. They could do anything. And they will have panels in which there will be 3 4 people sitting. One person will be the quiet one who will not speak anything, and this person is the one who will be looking at your body language, your eye contact, your hand movement, the tone in which you are speaking. Everything is going to be monitored very, very clearly. And he will not ask a single question. He will only look at you as an individual, see your behavior, see your attitude. So, when I look at the soft skills, when I look at personalities, I look at it from the perspective that what is it that my student should not do to get rejected. So, for the last 17 years, I have been involved in placement preparation of the students, both undergraduate and postgraduate. And there used to be a drilling. I would do the stress interviews. I would not let them, get into a comfort zone, because when they are practicing in campus, then they are very easily sailing through in the final interviews when the companies actually visit. So I believe that these soft skills play a very important role. You could be a 90 percentiler, and I'll give you small statistics here. Recently, a study was done to see that which percentage of students with their academic scores are getting the maximum jobs, or who are the most placeable ones. You'll be surprised. 90% and above, those who are scoring particular grades or scores and who are the academic toppers, their employability is far lower than those who have scores between 65 to 90. And the reason is because this student who's between 65 to 90, he is also taking part in multiple extracurricular activities. He's the one who's upskilling himself. He's the one who's contributing to the institutional development. And he's making a difference not just in his own personality, because he's acquiring so many skills by then. If you are taking part in club events or campus events, you are improving your interpersonal skills, your confidence gets improved, your communication gets improved, your team skill gets improved, you acquire leadership skills. I mean, this is exactly what recruiters are looking for. So if you are somebody who's a bookworm, who's only focused only on studies, you have not worked on your personality or skills. So that is where the problem starts. So I'm not saying don't aspire for a 90%. I'm saying that work on your personality as well, work on your soft skills as well. So if you're able to balance both the academics and your personality, you can really be successful and get into the most popular organizations or your dream companies without blinking an eyelid.
So fascinating, and I'm sure our listeners and like students like me will find this very valuable how you have explained it. So now you have recently completed an executive education course in HR analytics. So how do you see data analytics changing the field of HR and management education?
See, data analytics has already made inroads across all functions in the organization, not just HR. So, what is happening now, all decision making that is happening in the organizations, it is based on data only. So, people who thought that data analytics as a career was not something they should go for. Now they are regretting and they are upskilling themselves. Now, for me, after doing PhD, after working for so long, I still felt the need to do this program was primarily because A, I wanted to upskill myself. B, I also wanted to understand what are those kind of analysis that can be done with the information that is available, the employee data that is available. Can I find out the turnover intention? Can I find out the reasons for high attrition? Can I find out the ROI of every employee? That is the level of information data analytics is able to provide right now. And if I'm just looking at the HR function, it has radically transformed itself because of the fact that every function, every department within the HR, whether it's recruitment selection, whether it is performance appraisal, whether it is training development, whether it is compensation, employee welfare, industrial relations, you name it, and there is data attached to it, which can add a lot of insights to the working, that whether it is efficient or not, whether it is a waste of time, whether it is giving the required return on investment as far as the organization is concerned or not. So those insights can be easily achieved through data analytics. So this certificate that I did, the program, it gave me a very deep dive into how organizations are able to cut their costs. They are able to make their processes more efficient. They are able to reduce the attrition rate also, and they are able to identify their top performers. So, if all this is happening through analytics, there is no way a company can run without analytics now. And if I'm looking at analytics, I would also put one step further, that not just analytics, even the way artificial intelligence is transforming HR, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable because every function today is being affected through AI, whether it is training, whether it is the recruitment selection, everything is being affected. So technology today has brought in a radical transformation of the HR function. In fact, last year, one of my PhD scholars, she has been awarded PhD in the area of AI and HR. And when she was doing the study, I was myself taken aback with the kind of results that were coming in. That while the intent to accept that yes, AI is important, but its implementation is yet being done only in a handful of functions. The actual reality is that many organizations are still wary of AI. So it is important, there's no doubt, it's very critical. Technology, the way HR is being transformed and how data analytics is adding to it. But at the same time, it has also created a very different perception of HR. So when we were studying HR during post graduation, we studied that HR is considered as a personnel function, more of a liability. Employees are not treated as assets and all. But if I look at from there to now, it is a radical change. It is a drastic shift. And that has only happened because data analytics is showing figures that you are spending more cost in recruiting new people, and in less than half the cost if you spend on your existing employees, you'll be able to retain them and you save the time and effort. So this is data which is showing all these details. So that is how it has created a shift and a dynamic change.
That's excellent advice, and like it's an excellent advice for our listeners who are currently aspiring to be management students. It gonna be very insightful for them for future. And now that you have been involved in international relations for universities, how do you see the future of global partnership in management education, especially in the post pandemic world?
See, pandemic, a lot of students who wanted to go abroad, they could not. When you are aspiring for global education, you can expect a certain level of education with respect to the quality, with respect to the exposure, the learning. So, a lot of students who are Indians who want to go abroad, or those who are stationed outside, they want to travel anywhere to study outside. The purpose is very clear. They feel they will get better exposure, they will have better access to resources, maybe the quality of faculty will be different. So, in my experience, what I have seen is that it is not essential, absolutely, that unless you have a global exposure, you will be, not successful. But what I only suggest to students is that in case you feel that yes, this is my long term career goal and a foreign education can add value to it, only then you should go for it. Otherwise, the kind of exposures that, say, Asian School of Business gives to the students by sending them abroad for a week, 10 days, 15 days program, that itself becomes a kind of a, adequate exposure to know, because life outside is not that easy. It's a good exposure. Understand the cultures, understand how multinational, work environments are there. That is more than enough. Education in our country is equally good. That is what I personally feel.
Correct. That's absolutely right, and like that gives us a lot to think about regarding the future of global education. So as we wrap up this, I have one final question. Looking at your diverse experience, and what advice would you give to young professionals considering a career transition between industry and academia?
Connections in industry, they say I want to come to academics, and I tell them don't do that. I tell them don't do that, because there is a myth that education line is easy. Becoming a teacher is not easy at all, not in schools, not in colleges, because you're not here only for teaching. There is a lot of non teaching administrative work that has to be done. There are a lot of accreditations which institutions aspire for. So, documentation has to be done, processes have to be created, and faculty have to be aligned to it. So, it is no longer just a teaching job. So, if a person is ready, is interested to take on non teaching work also, there are research targets, there is administrative work, there is student mentoring, right? There we have a very strong crafting program. So, all that is non teaching work. So, if an individual is interested to come from industry to academics, they have to be mentally prepared for this. If then it is reverse, from academics somebody wants to go to industry, it is not that easy, because industry people perceive that academicians have no practical knowledge. They are more or less, more into concepts and theories, and they will not be able to adjust. So that also is a myth, because a lot of faculty members have somehow or the other been able to equip themselves with the skills which industry requires. So, my suggestion to anybody is that irrespective of whether you want to go to academics, you want to go to industry, you should have the right mindset, you should have the right skill set, and if you have the passion, go for that particular profession. Don't make decisions because everybody is going for it, because it looks very nice. Nothing is nice. You talk to an industry person, he will also be stressed and having a burnout. You speak to an industry person, that person will also be stressed and burnout. So, there is nothing like it's an easy job. There is no job which is easy.
Absolutely agree with you, and like your perspective on it was very clear, and how we should follow, and how like the career transition is not always easy. It was such a great answer from you. And yeah, thank you, Professor Vikas, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. So your journey truly exemplifies the bridge between academia and industry. To our listeners, thank you for turning in another episode of Beyond Borders. If you enjoyed the conversation, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, I'm Nadia, encouraging you to keep exploring, learning, and crossing these borders. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.